How's everyone today? It's Chris here from Teclast.com. So I've got a comparison video here. Now this is against the Cube i6, which is on the right. And on the left here we have the Teclast X98 Air 3G, which you might have seen in many of my other videos on that tablet. So the Cube is a newcomer and it is another dual boot tablet. It first came out with just Android only, but it did have the Intel hardware, and Cube have adapted the BIOS so it would work now with dual boot. So it has that inside BIOS, which is a little system here. If I touch that, it will switch over into Android, which it won't do at the moment. But what I'll just show you now is the difference between the eMMC drives. You can see the speed difference there between them. Now I've just run this test. I actually got a higher score before on the Cube i6. I managed to almost get 180 and 70 right, but for some reason it slowed down a little bit. But you can see there that they're the two scores, and there is a bit of a difference there when it comes to write speeds. Now the Teclast has got a B1 drive in it, which is not a very good drive. Speed-wise is quite slow. I have seen a lot faster, which does make a slight difference when you're loading up screens. When you're loading up folders, you go into the device manager, things will pop up. It seemed to pop up a little bit quicker. Anyway, I'll just go over the actual build quality of the two units. So you can see they've both got the front-facing cameras in different positions. Obviously black and white. It's good to see a tablet finally in black, one of these iPad clones with a Retina display. I have both of the screens set on a maximum brightness. There's a couple of key differences too in the hardware. The Teclast X98 Air has a faster CPU in it, but it's only around 300 megahertz faster on single core. So when it's a single thread, it's turboing, it's doing a bit of boost there. It's going to be a little bit faster. Now the benchmark differences between these two are basically next to nothing really. And 2.2, you get maybe another 1,000 or so points, 1,000 or 2,000 points more, which is, and in real world is nothing. And 3D Mark testing, you get a couple of hundred more. So there's nothing really in it. They both have 2 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, so I'll just go over the hardware here on build quality of the Teclast X98 Air 3G. So it has a plastic power on and volume rocker here on the left side of the unit, and it's on the right side on the Cube. So the Cube keeps more of an iPad kind of layout, iPad Air layout, and the camera, as mentioned, is on the left side. And the really interesting part here is on the bottom we have all the ports. So we've got the micro USB right here, the 3.5mm jack, which is noise free. There's no buzz or hiss over this, which is good. A micro HDMI out, which is one thing the Cube does not have, so this is a plus for the Teclast. We have on the rear the 2 stereo speakers, and here we have a micro SD card slot and a SIM card slot. Now this is a normal size SIM card, and it is a bit of a pain because I have to use an adapter. I mean, normal size SIM cards are not common anymore. Now it's the micro SIM. We also have the mic. So everything is all on this corner here, which is good in a way, because if you're going to use the tablet this way up, if you were going to use it standing maybe and with a keyboard, then you've got the ports free and the camera at the top there and not down here. So it's nice. So there's nothing on the right side and there's nothing on the top. And on the back we have that 5 megapixel camera, which you can see there. Overall the quality is quite good. I've been pleased with it for the 4 months or so I've had this tablet. There is a few noises around here when using it. Sometimes around here there's a couple of little creak noises, just where the plastic's joined up here with the aluminium. It's not like it's opening or splitting up or anything like that. No, it's good. It's a solid tablet. And I will actually get the scales out here and show you how much it does weigh in grams. And you'll have to convert that because I don't know what that is in pounds. But if I just put the tablet here now down, it should weigh around 500. Okay, so just looking down here, it's 529 grams is the weight of the Teclast. And how thick it is, well, I'll just measure that now with a gauge. So you can see the thickness, what that is. I'll take it from the middle here. We're looking around 8, maybe just a bit over 8.1 millimeters there. Try not to scratch the screen because they're not scratch resistant or anything. So that is the X98 here. This of course comes in 64 gigabytes, which the Cube doesn't at the moment, that is. And I will get onto other key points like switching over the operating system. But now let's have a look at the hardware of the Cube. So we've got that front facing 2 megapixel camera. And there is nothing on the left side. This is all free of any buttons or ports. The rear we have a 5 megapixel camera. And on the right side is where all the action is. So we have a metal volume rocker and power on. Micro SD card slot is right here. Quite a nice little slot. We have a slide out slot for the micro SIM card. So that's a micro SIM, not a normal size SIM, which is good. Nice little tray there that you put that into. And the back we have a dual speaker setup, just like what the Teclast has. And they both sound around about the same. Oh, and the audio port is at the top. So 3.5 millimeter jack there. Micro USB. The audio output from this jack is nice and clean too. There's no distortion, there's no buzziness or hissing noise in the background. And the bottom there is a small tiny gap here, which is your microphone. So in terms of hardware, it feels very solid. In fact, it feels better in hand than the Teclast. And it's got this nice grey metal back on it, and it's good to have a different colour than just white and silver from what we're seeing from the Onda and Teclast range of dual boot tablets with the Retina displays. Because it's a very nice display, which I'll get onto now is the display difference. They're both set to full brightness. And if you have a look here, the clarity of the Teclast is slightly better. Just get the screen to focus on there. Hopefully you can see that. We'll just look at the icons there. That is because it doesn't have that kind of grainy matte display that, although they're the same exact IPS panel in them, Cube has done something here to make the panel. They put like another layer over the actual IPS screen before the glass touch panel, and it seems to be like they've used like a matte coating over the screen. Why they've done this, I don't know. Maybe to cut down on the glare outside. I can report that outside you can actually see it a little bit better than the Teclast, but who's really using their tablets in direct sunlight? I'm not me anyway. And so the view angles on both of them are the same. Screen brightness is basically the same, maybe a little bit brighter on the Teclast. This is of course running a dual boot BIOS here now. So screen wise, they're pretty much identical. And the Teclast does have actually a little LED indicator here that I forgot to mention, and there is a ambient light sensor, but that only seems to work in Android. So what I do now is try and boot them both into Android and show you how long that takes. Now, because the system on the Teclast is different, I need to actually power it off. I can't just directly boot straight into Android, which is what I can do here on the Cube. So I'll just try that now, as I'll need to power this one off and try to do it about the same time. So at least you can kind of get an idea of how long it takes both of them. Okay, so they're both shutting down. Let's see how long this takes. And I've left that too long. I should have powered that on before. Okay, so we're into the screen. It does take a little while to power down. Even though the screen's gone off, it's still powering down. So okay, so we're in Android now with the Cube. And if I wanted to go back into Windows, I just simply click there from the pull down menu. Now the brightness, as I just mentioned before, there is this light sensor there. So it's on auto at the moment. So what I'll do is just I'll just put that on maximum actually now. And the X98 Air now of course is an Android. And what I can do is just show you the ROMs, although not a fair comparison. This is the stock ROM that is very much like a Nexus kind of arrangement. It is very stock Android. It's really good. There was no bloat. There was basically just ES File Explorer, which you need anyway, a File Explorer, Facebook, and that was it. Everything else was kind of stock, and all that I've added is Real Racing 3 Sensor Box and Antutu Benchmark. Now I haven't actually had time to run Antutu on the Teclast, but this ROM here is a custom ROM, so it's not actually the stock Teclast ROM, which I find quite bloaty and horrible. This is one from Merrick 190 from XDA forums, so it's a stock ROM there. And I'm just wondering if the score is on there. No, my old score somehow hasn't been saved there. So they're both running Android 4.4.4, and there is a difference in DPI here. That's set to 320, and this one is set to 264, I think, which runs better because that's the PPI of the actual screen. So it looks nice and sharp and tends to be a little bit smoother. Okay, so that is just a comparison of the two tablets. So which one of the two is better? Well, it kind of depends on your needs. If you want 64 gigabytes, then you're going to have to get the Teclast because that's the only one that comes in 64 gigabytes. Unless, of course, Cube start producing this one with 64 gigabytes. Don't know if they will. Maybe they will. And then if you need HDMI out, then this one here is the one to get, the Teclast. The other reason, maybe you're a little bit fussy with your screens. Tiny little bit of kind of grain, but you get used to it. It's not a real deal breaker for me. So maybe you don't like that, so then you go for the Teclast. But if you want the superior build quality, way better Android ROM, that you don't have to flash custom ROMs or do anything like that, then this is probably the one to get for you, if you don't mind that 32 gigabytes of storage. And I will just quickly show you, getting back into Windows, how fast that is on these machines. So I'm going to have to power off this one by holding it down because the custom ROM doesn't have a power off button. It's missing, so you just reboot their airplane mode and silent mode. Okay, so if I quickly power this one back on and I'll just do the switch here, so just pushing that now, it's going to reboot into Windows there for me. So I select now Windows. So it's a very different system. Neither really has an advantage in speed, but of course it is nice to have that option just to reboot straight into the other operating system without having to do the power off, then power on, and select with the boot selector. So maybe the Cube system has a slight advantage there. Okay, so the Cube i6 is back in Windows, and so is the Teclast. So speed-wise, they're very close. There's not much in it. Slight advantage maybe to the Cube. And for some reason there, the Cube screen looks a bit brighter. I will have to test that out, but the full review of this tablet will be up on techtablets.com shortly, and the review of the X98 Air has been out for 3 months or so now. If you're interested, check that out. Definitely worth a look if you're considering these two tablets. So that's the video. If you liked it, please do give me a like. And do subscribe. I'll have more videos up and coming of the Cube i6. I'm also waiting on other tablets like the Pipo W3F, which comes with a keyboard, and I might actually be looking at the Core M tablets that are starting to come out now, as well as the new, obviously any new tablets that are coming out from China. I will try and cover those as well. Thanks for watching the video. Bye for now. Oh, don't go just yet. I completely forgot to weigh the Cube i6 here and measure it. So we'll just check the weight of that now. And that comes in at 509 grams. So that's lighter, quite a bit lighter than the Teclast X98. 508. You can just see that there, 508. And I'll just check the thickness as well compared to the X98 Air. I think it's slightly thicker. Seems to be a little bit fraction thicker. And I'll just find out now. Okay, so that is coming in at around 10 millimeters versus the 8 millimeters. Actually, it's just a bit shy, so that's about 9 point something millimeters compared to the around about 8.1 of the Teclast X98. Yeah, so there's a little bit of difference, but in the hand you don't really notice that difference. And the weight difference you do notice just feels a tiny little bit lighter than the X98 Air. I hope you like the comparison. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye for now.